Hi, this is Harsh from the other side of the world, and you're listening to my podcast within 5 minutes. I hustle through the bustling city streets in the early hours of winter morning. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement as I dug through a sea of pedestrians. The discord of honking horns, distant music, chattering voices, and occasional sizzle of the oily samosas perfectly represented the everyday urban chaos. Each one of us was lost in our worlds as we hurried through a street that was lined with tall glass buildings, reflecting the outlines of the cloudy sky. The atmosphere was charged with unchanging motion as the crowd moved in a synchronized dance. We all wished for a good morning, but not one of us had the time to truly appreciate the dawning. The fresh fragrance in the air was plenty, and yet our hearts felt strangely empty. Suddenly, I felt a tap as gentle as the wind on my shoulder. I turned around to find myself staring at an uncanny face. He wore a friendly smile, and his eyes gleamed with energy. It felt like an intrusion at first, but the calmness he radiated was infectious. "Guess you're in a hurry, huh?" he said as his voice cut through the chaos. "Not anymore," I told him as the noise of the city faded into the darkness. It was me. I found myself in the presence of my older self yet again, in the strangest of places. He didn't look much older than he was when I last saw him. 2 years had passed since our last conversation in the park. But strangely, it felt like yesterday to me. "Mind if I join you till you get to your office?" he asked gently. "By all means. I still can't get used to seeing you like this. I feel an odd tingle along my spine when you're around," I replied. "Right? I feel it too. The moment I stepped into this world, there was a strong repulsion as if nature was trying to send me back," he said casually. "Maybe that's because you do not belong here. But when I really think about it, where do we really belong? I'm always living in the past too. You belong here and the now. Don't forget that. Living in your past might seem familiar and nostalgic, but remember that nostalgia often involves a selective memory, where the good days are exaggerated and the bad days are overlooked. When you're busy thinking about what once was, you're missing out on what could be. If you keep dwelling on the past, you may lose your shot at creating better, richer memories. You might bump into someone who could potentially become the love of your life if you pay attention to everything that unfolds in your present. Otherwise, you'll mindlessly walk away without ever knowing that you had a shot at something beautiful." He responded intensely. There was a short pause. There was so much depth in his words that I didn't know how to respond. "I hope that's not coming from a place of regret. You ever regret something in your past?" I asked. "Yes, of course," he replied without hesitation. "Is this your attempt at fixing them?" I carefully contested him. "Not really. I've already become the man I'm meant to be. There's nothing I want to change about that, but maybe I can help you become a better man than what was originally meant for you." Isn't that sort of a paradox? If you help me become a different person, I won't become you and you may never exist, I questioned, confused. "Well, if I were to put it simply, the moment you met me, your life had already branched into a new life. You're not the person I was when I was 23. Your future is unknown now, and you're creating your own destiny with your own hands. Every choice you make or don't make will take you to places that I may or may not have seen. The person that becomes me still exists somewhere, but he's not you, he replied. That's scary. That means I'm walking into uncharted territory, and every choice I make either breaks or makes who I am. How do I know I won't regret my choices? I responded. Regrets, you see, are like shadows. They follow you, but they have no real control over you, unless you let them. The beauty of life is not in the absence of regrets, but in the capability to rise above them. You're going to make decisions that could lose you all your money and strip you of your respect. But you should forgive yourself and move forward, because life is a series of course corrections and not a rigid line. You made the best decision you could with the information you had at the time. You can't expect to know what's the best decision until it's very late, when it becomes a memory in your past. Everything you say makes a lot of sense, I said while trying to process his words. It has taken me years to see life through such a lens. I've not always had this clarity in my life, and I've only begun to comprehend and articulate it. I hope I'll be able to think of life the way you do someday, I said with utmost sincerity in my words. Well, then, you've got to start now. You have to expose yourself and start experiencing new things. And while you navigate yourself through those new experiences, you will understand yourself better. Some experiences will remind you why you hate doing something, while others will teach you what it feels like to be in love once again. If you don't put yourself out there in the world, you're never going to attract the things that are beyond your reach right now. I nodded my head in acceptance as we got closer to my workplace. I knew I had to part ways with him soon. It's the same thing with your job. You might hear everyone complain about 9 to 5 jobs, but you've got to live it and understand for yourself if it is something you enjoy or not. Just because it seems mechanical to the outside world does not mean it is not reputable. Whether you're working at McDonald's or at Microsoft, your job is a quantification of your skills. If you want to live big, you need to have the skills to be big. You can't possibly expect yourself to start a company by yourself if you don't know how a company works. And that's the same with life. You can't possibly expect to live your best life if you don't know what makes you happy. So get out there and expose yourself to everything until you can decide for yourself that this is what you want in your life. We reached the gates of the tech park. It was time to say goodbye, but I didn't know how to say it. It may not be the last time I see him, but another couple of years may pass till I see him again. I guess this is it then, I said awkwardly. Yup. Time to head back for breakfast, I guess. How exactly are you doing this again? I asked with curiosity in my eyes. Let's just say I found a glitch in the matrix, he replied, grinning at himself. I'll see you. I'm not sure what else I should have said. I hope so. You do good, kid, he said as he shook my hand and quickly turned away from me. I watched him walk away as he turned around the corner of the street and disappeared. This was a conversation through time, and I hoped that it wasn't the last one. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is the first episode in the year of 2024, and I pray that this year brings you closer to all the things you want for yourself. This season, like all the other seasons, will be part of the audio library I'm maintaining for the lessons I would like to hear again. I hope that this library can bring a deeper understanding about ourselves and the world around us to each and every one of us. Let's help each other and make this world a better place than we found it. If you like what you hear, I hope you can take the time to rate this show. You can also support me by joining my Patreon community. You can join for free, so don't worry about the fee. All the links will be present in the description of this episode. I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao. Bye.